Hi everybody, this is Valerie from Lexis. This video is going to try and quickly cover how to write a circuit court split note. So there's splits in the circuit and we're going to write a note on that. The reason I'm starting here is because I found the greatest topic. And if you don't have a topic yet, this is a really good one. Landmark ruling um, boost protection against sexual orientation discrimination. Really good, particularly for law review. Maybe not ELR, but you'll get the point no matter what, no matter what journal you're on. I read this. I saw that the Seventh Circuit had come up with a different ruling, and the Seventh Circuit was providing protection for sexual orientation. It's the first time they ever did this, and they upended, it said in the article, decades of precedent. Then as I moved down, it said that in March, the 11th Circuit held exactly the opposite way. This also brings into the EEOC, which is an administrative court that deals with employment issues. Really great topic, and I'm going to use this to show you how to write the note. I'm going to include in the video, when I send you guys the email, an outline for how to write this, but I'm just going to kind of give it to you generally here so that you know how it goes. Okay, so essentially what you do is you start out with a an introduction, and then you go into about 4 different parts. Part 1 would be the background on the law that's at issue. So for you, it would be kind of talking about this is having to do with Title VII. Title VII, sexual orientation jurisprudence before this case in the Seventh Circuit, because it says that it upended a lot of other case law. And then you talk about how maybe historically how the 11th Circuit has dealt with this, maybe the law relating to the EEOC historically. And then, so that's part 1. Part 2, you get into the analysis piece, and that's where you analyze both approaches, the 7th Circuit approach, the 11th Circuit approach, and you would look at the cases that were cited in each case to kind of figure out why they held the way they did, and then you critique it. Who did the better job? Who should think about which way, what should be the right approach? And then part 3 talks about the impact and significance of this in employment law. What should employers do? This is so good in this article. I'm going to look down here. It says how employers can avoid being a test case. Perfect for your Section 3 impact and significance and policy. That's what part 3 is about. How this particular split impacts employers, impacts employees. What should we do about it? What actually is happening? Was this, one court broadened it, one court narrowed it? What does that mean? And what kind of policy should we do? What kind of policy should we think about it? And then part 4 is basically like the student proposes a solution, which is essentially the Supreme Court's got to grant cert. This is a big deal, and the circuits need to have a uniform approach to this, and then you tell them what approach you think that they should take. Okay, so that's the outline. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to pull one of the cases. So that's what I want you to do. If you have your circuit split cases with you right now, you can follow along with me. So hang on, let me get the citation. I have it here. Okay, so the Seventh Circuit case is this. It's 853 F 3rd 339. And I'm going to click over here. Okay, here's the case. And as you scroll down, you check and you see they reversed and remanded the lower court opinion. Also good and worthy to note, okay? So now what you want to do is you want to shepherdize this opinion. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to shepherdize it. You are going to want to know what happens to this case. So for instance, if the Supreme Court does grant cert, you're going to want to know that. So you set up an alert. This is a key thing for you. You do it on both your cases. You go up to the bell, you create an alert, and that way, no matter what happens to your case, it gets up for appeal. They grant cert, they deny cert. it gets cited in the lower courts, whatever's going on with this case, it gets cited in a law review article, it will email it to you. So this is fine. You want to focus on these two tabs, okay? You go to monitor, you say any change, you go to delivery, you scroll down, and you put in your email address, okay? And then the thing that's very key is this. Wait, why is this doing this? Wait. Sorry, you guys. Yeah, and then you create alert, okay? That's how you do it. You create an alert. Okay, so you go up here to the bell. Now what do you do? For a second, I'm just going to talk briefly about the research that you're going to need to write the paper. Your research basically comes for 4 or 5 different places. The case, the splitting case, right? So that would be the 7th and the 11th Circuit cases. The cases that are cited within those cases. So you're going to use those to analyze what approach was right and why they cited the cases that they did. You're also going to want to cite to other law review articles that have also approached this particular issue. You're going to want to look at the news, and then you're going to want to look at the EEOC opinions, which we happen to have online, that will kind of let you understand how this issue kind of plays out, okay? So let's do the first one. How do you get a list of cases that are cited within your case? So I'm in the 7th Circuit. This is my 7th Circuit opinion. Every step that I do with my 7th Circuit case, I also want you to do with your split case, which in my case would be my 11th Circuit case. So I'm going to go here, I'm going to click on Table of Authority. So there's 70 cases cited within this case. That's actually a fair amount. And as you scroll down, like this was like a big deal. They really discussed it. They followed it. It's in the concurring opinion. They did like a whole bunch, but this was obviously a key decision for them. You scroll down and you say, okay, and then they really discuss this Price Waterhouse case. So you're going to kind of want to read these opinions and figure out what the major cases are that they relied on to come up with their opinion, and then you're going to want to analyze those. The other thing you could do with this list of cases, which is really helpful, is this can help you find other law review articles that are on point with sexual discrimination in the workplace, okay? Law review articles that have cited to these cases. But what I want you to do is, what happens traditionally is that because this is a Supreme Court case, this is going to be cited a million times. And so what you really want to do is find kind of like a smaller set of cases that that you can look at, shepherdize, and figure out what cases cited to those cases. So what I'm going to do is what law review cited to those cases, sorry. I'm going to go to the 7th Circuit, and I'm going to click here. So I just want to see cases cited within my case in the 7th Circuit. And I'm going to pick this case, let's say. Let's see. You know what? Maybe I'll pick this one because it looks like they really talked about this case more. So I'm going to shepherdize this case. So what I'm doing is I'm shepherdizing a case that was cited in my case, my 7th Circuit case, and then I'm going to shepherdize it because I want a list of law review articles that's cited to this Eastern Airline case. So I then go, once I did that, see now I'm in the Eastern Airline case, I click on Other Citing Sources, and then I narrow it by law reviews. This will give me a list of cases, sex and sexual orientation after Title VII. So here's a case you're probably going to want to talk about. This came out in 2013. Really, really on point for you. Some of these things, fluid identity discrimination. There's still a lot of cases that there's still a lot of law review articles, 444. If that's too many, then you can maybe, if you want to take a certain angle and say, okay, what is the EEOC going to say about this? Then you can search within your results and try to narrow this thing down. That gave me, that lopped off about half. Or you can say, you know what, I'm going to say at least all one word and then type in like 10, let's say, open paren, and then use like an important word to add weight to. Say, okay, I want the term sexual orientation to appear at least 10 times in this set of law review articles. Otherwise, don't show it to me. This way, it's a way of weeding out cases that only mention your topic, your keyword once or twice. See, so it's like this, at least all one word, and then 10, and then sexual orientation. Okay, so this is actually a little bit better. And then as you find stuff you like, you can go and stick it in your folder. Okay, so you click it in here, and you go up here, and you stick it in your folder. So remember, everything that I'm doing with my 7th Circuit case, I will also do with my 11th Circuit case. Okay, so this way you can kind of get the battery of law review articles. The reason you want law review articles is because you're going to be talking about, it'll help you with your analysis, it'll help you with the policy concepts that you're going to be addressing in your part 3 of impact and significance, and you need those citations in your footnotes, to kind of buff out your own article. Okay, so now what you're going to do, so now you've got a battery of on-point law review articles. You're going to read each case and analyze the approach. And then the final thing that I want you to do is, oh yeah, I was going to go to the EEOC. Okay, I think I'm going to do it like this. I'm going to say sexual orientation, like this, and then say within the same paragraph as circuit split. So what I'm going to do is I'm trying to find the news. I want you guys to search the news too, and then we'll go to the EEOC. So I'm going to say circuit court. So what I'm doing is I'm going to look and I want to see who's talking about this in the news. So I'm going to click over here. This will also help you with the impact and significance piece when you can cite to other people's opinions, blogs, Law 360, that kind of thing. So I go over here, I go show more, I go to news, and then resort this from newest to oldest, although this is great too. If discrimination is prohibited by Title VII. Okay, look at this. This just came out. I didn't even know this existed. This is great. If you're writing on this, you've got to include this in your paper. This would be like a 3 split if they already decided this. So this is why the news is so important. What you do then is you set up an alert here. So I basically search by subject matter. I set up an alert. I go to monitor. I say, you know what? I want you to look in cases. I want you to look in statutes, secondary material, that's like law reviews, and I'm already in the news. And then I click deliver. I stick in my email, and I click create alert, okay? By the way, if you want to like tinker with your alerts at all, you go up to more, and you can go to alerts, okay? All right. So what have we covered so far? We looked at the case. We look at the case decided within our case so we can figure out the approach. We analyze the approach. We look at law review articles that help us understand the law and help us with footnotes. We move to the news, helps us with the impact and significance and the policy piece. And here, because you're dealing with like administrative type things with the EEOC, I would say like you're not going to need this, but let me make this broader. If there's like a statute that you're dealing with in your particular case that you're working on, the splits, then you go to the statute. So I might say sexual orientation, I click here, and then you pull the statute that's at issue in your case law, and then maybe you look at the legislative history, that kind of thing. You go to statutes and legislation, and then you can say, okay, I want federal, and then you can kind of figure it out from there. Just so you know, if you're doing legislative history, this is legislative history, okay? Congressional records, hearings, trying to get like, the policy behind why a bill was enacted in the first place. And then that is it. So then remember on your part 4, you would then conclude by saying the Supreme Court's got to grant cert. You want to be able to have consistency among the circuits, and that's why they grant cert, to give them, give you the final law of the land. So if you have questions, you can let me know, and good luck.